All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Brain Balance Live with Heather Wells from The Hidden Churn. My name's Corey, and I am your host with the most for the show. And Heather over here is a board certified cognitive specialist and also a National Autism Summit speaker. And darn it, she's a mom too. And she also helps kids on a daily basis. How you doing, Heather?
I'm good. I'm really excited about this topic today. How are you?
I'm awesome. It's Tuesday, but for me, I feel like it's the end of November because I had a photo shoot at my house the other day and we staged everything. I did like the holidays, I did Thanksgiving, and I think we're going to have some good Christmas cards. That's for sure.
It's so fancy.
I'll send you one. I'll send you a holiday card of what we shot because it'll be
I
fun.
can't wait to see it. Y'all's pictures are always beautiful.
We have fun. We have talented people in the family, so we're lucky. We're lucky.
You do.
But, yeah, and including, it's funny I say that we're lucky because today we're talking about what?
Gratitude.
That's right. Gratitude and a positive attitude with that gratitude. So what are we talking about today, Heather? And how do we have gratitude at such a difficult time in all of humanity and, have gratitude as we're going into the holiday season and be able to convey that to our little kids.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of misconceptions about gratitude, or you hear a lot of talk, and there is some truth to this about, my kids aren't grateful. You hear about generations of entitlement, but a lot of these things have neurodevelopmental roots. And so I want to talk about why it is so difficult to cultivate enduring gratitude, but how to tackle it and take care of that in a way that will help kids and families. I mean, mental, psychological, social, emotional, cognitive development and well-being, and physical health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got this little slideshow, as we always kind of do, and it says gratitude is an affirmation of goodness in the world and figuring out where that goodness comes from with connective gratitude beginning around the developmental age of 7. Heather, what is connective gratitude?
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll clarify is there's concrete gratitude, and that's manners. When this happens, say thank you. And by the way, one of the things we do need to teach our kids manners, but the more we can cultivate an environment of gratitude instead of it being yet another rule to follow, when we can house it differently, we can frame it differently for kids, the more buy-in we're going to get. But when kids younger than the developmental age of 7 are saying thank you, they're saying it because that's the rule. That's the nicety. My parents taught me that when someone says something nice to me, then I say thank you back, or they give me a gift, I say thank you. That's an important life skill, just having those manners. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they have emotional gratitude yet. Connective gratitude is emotional. It is that makes me feel connected to you. I have the frame of reference to understand what your intention was, that you went out of your way to do something nice for me. I consider the cost to you, and I don't mean monetary cost, but my parents spent time helping me with this when they got home late from work. That means something. That was a sacrifice for them because they were tired. I mean, how much putting yourself in someone else's shoes and perspective and kind of worldview and being able to step outside of yourself is required for that.
Yeah.
So connective gratitude begins around the developmental. I always say developmental because if kids have developmental delays, it doesn't mean this is going to happen at age 7. But then there are really social and cognitive components to gratitude that continue developing all the way into adolescence.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so what do we got here, Heather? And I think you're going to have me do a little reading, a little narrating. If you
yes, you're such a good narrator, Corey. So we've got 2 slides here where there are 2 scenarios. In one instance, the child is grateful. In one instance, they are not grateful. And let's see how this plays out.
Okay, so in the grateful situation, the child says, "I am so happy that my mom helped me on this project. It is a lot better now." As she thanks her mom for her help, her mom will want to help her with other future projects in the future. At school, she helps her friend with his project. This makes her friend happy. This will go This will also make her friend more likely to help her in the future. She'll have good friendships and good relationships with her family. She will get sick less often and recover more quickly. And over time, she'll be a happier person overall because she has fun spending time with other people, including family and friends. Yeah?
Yes. I mean, look at this. Because she understood gratitude, there is a spiral of goodness that happens here. She understood the perspective of the sacrifice her mom made. She expressed gratitude. She also witnessed helping someone. So then she pays it forward to her friend, who then pays it forward later on. There are good feelings abound. Good feelings beget good feelings. And lack of worry, happy life. I mean, gratitude is almost inseparable from happiness. But one thing I want to say, whether we're talking about gratitude, joy, pleasure, contentment, enthusiasm, we never want to make our kids feel that they must always be happy, that they must always be grateful, because sometimes bad things happen and I need to process my anger first.
Yep. Yeah,
so
that's true.
Authentic is so important. Authenticity in all of this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's look at the not so grateful side. God, it is so annoying that my mom helped me with this project. She just won't leave me alone. So what does she do? She has an argument with her mom because she's angry for forcing her for help. Her friend asks her for help with this project, but she says that she cannot help him. She is disappointed and less likely to help her in the future. And over time, her relationship with her family and her friends are not as good. They get sick more often. They are tired. And then over time, she'll be less happy because she has more negative experiences with her family and friends.
And how does the parent feel?
Oh,
I
yeah.
spent all this time. I mean, what a thankless job. And I mean, we know that there's a lot of that in parenting anyway. But if we don't understand why the child perceived it this way, we may take it personally. And we have to really try not to do that and get to the root of why the child doesn't understand gratitude from a very organic place.
Yep. I love this. What a great, opportunity to kind of show the difference between this. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Like my little dude, Raj, for those of you that don't know, I'm a brain balanced parent myself. My kid went through the program for 9 months. He's about 9 years old right now. Still has struggles, but we coach him through some stuff. The truth is if he finds himself in this, he will actually take himself down the road. And it's very difficult to get him out of this spiral right here where he's super angry. And so we almost have to, first of all, I have to stay calm. The biggest thing is staying calm and showing that example. And then the complete opposite of what you would want to do, which is maybe yelling or getting frustrated, bringing them in and giving them a hug and telling them it's okay, even though they're still operating. I think you say, Heather, out of the front side, it's very hard, or is it the back? I forget which one it is. When they're just raging.
When they're raging, the fight or flight response takes over, and you can't reason with them. And they can't get to the part of the brain where they process emotions or your words or what's going on in a reasonable manner. So
keep them safe. Keep them safe and let them know they're safe, and that, when they're ready, I'm here to have a discussion with you, is what I keep saying. And then the biggest thing for me is I'm talking about right here when these things happen. Because he will verbally abuse my wife, verbally abuse a babysitter. And I'll just be like, buddy, when you grow up, do you want to have people around you that are your friends, that are your family, that love you and care for you and want to be around you? Or do you want to be the person that, people are scared to be around? I love you. I want to be around you. But I kind of have to be around you because I'm your dad. I want you to have people that enjoy your company as much as I do, and in order to do that, we have to treat other people kindly, so I have those kind of conversations.
And what you're doing there, and it is so fantastic. We've talked in a couple of other shows in different contexts about helping kids get in touch with their future selves.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids have difficulty with prediction. Part of a precursor to gratitude is an ability to understand how my actions impact another person. Studies have shown that the parts of the brain that understand that are subdued. They are not as active in kids who are acting ungrateful. And they treat their future selves as a stranger too. But when we consciously help them see how things play out. We are helping them predict and get in touch with their future self. I start making decisions that are in that person's best interest. And when I understand how my actions impact someone else, you start seeing empathy come out. And I'm not going to be from an organic place, not doing things that are hurting other people as much.
Yeah, I love it. All right, next slide. Okay, grateful or not grateful. Oh, okay, so this is about a bad grade, yeah?
Yes.
All right,
Bad
so
math quiz score. Yeah.
All right, so we got a little dude here. Oh, this is so disappointing. I know now that I need to study harder for the next test. That is a positive thinking habit, okay? Now, he's sad and disappointed about his bad grade, but he realizes that he has some control over his situation, that he can improve his grade on the next test. He will only feel a bit nervous about the next test. He does not keep worrying about the bad grades, so he sleeps well. Over the next few days, he has a lot of energy and can focus on his schoolwork. He then keeps focusing on his positive things in his life, so he feels happy and has energy to study, exercise, and spend time with friends. Over time, he will stay happy and healthy. He will feel more important and more grateful. I like that guy.
Yes, this is fantastic. What great models of parents he has at home and teachers. This is a growth mindset. And do you remember when we did the life skills Facebook Live a few weeks ago? One of the life skills is problem solving. And part of problem solving is helping kids really categorize what can I control and what can I not control.
Yeah.
He knows that he has some control. When I have control, I don't have to seek it in inappropriate ways, and I'll accept help from others more.
Yeah, I love it. You know, for me, like this, I had my daughter. Did I tell you the story about her falling out of a dance turn? Did I tell you that?
You did, yes.
Okay, so you get it. You know, but there's failure in there's success in failure because you're learning. So that was the big opportunity there. All right, so if he's not so grateful, oh, I'm such an idiot. I'll never be good at math, and maybe I won't even be able to finish high school. School is stupid, right? He beats himself up about the bad grade because he thinks negatively about himself and thinks he can never improve his grade. He will feel more and more sad and very scared for the next test. Lots of anxiety, right?
Yes.
He doesn't sleep well because of that anxiety. He can't stop worrying about the bad grade, and the next day he has no energy. He's probably losing his mind, totally mad and upset. He can't concentrate on his schoolwork, and over time he keeps focusing on bad things in his life, makes him more unhappy and sick. Maybe he has to take certain medications, certain stimulants to get him to, focus or even get him to calm down. There might even be multiple different things that they take to help them. So tough situation right there.
Yes. And I mean, this spiral can go in the positive direction or it can go in the negative direction. And here we see things disintegrating very quickly and everyone's against me and everything stinks. Very all or nothing thinking, lack of cognitive flexibility. Kids lack cognitive flexibility if they need highways in their brain communicating with each other and between their body and their brain. And they have little residential streets, dirt roads that they have to go slowly on. But part of growth mindset is, I failed this test. That just means I'm not successful at this yet. What did I learn from this? How can I improve? What kind of support do I have right now? When I start thinking in those terms, even amidst the bad, I have something to be grateful for because I have people, I have teachers and parents and maybe an older sibling who are there to support me and help me. I will be able to do it. I just have to try harder.
Yes, I love it. Next, this is all you.
So that was real life example, but to understand, we have decades of research. It used to be just in adults, but in the past 10, 20 years, there's been a ton of research come out showing, hey, same effects in children. Y'all have heard me talk about the fight or flight response so many times. Kids who have sensory issues, kids who have been through trauma, the brain and the body cannot tell the difference between a real and a perceived threat. But if my brain's not communicating the way it needs to, I perceive threats when they're not there. I go into a stress response. There's inflammation in the body. It leads to long-term health issues when they become adults. But in the immediacy, mental health issues, lack of critical thinking, trouble with social, emotional skills, academics, etc. This is not an accident. Gratitude changes the molecular structure of our brains. It affects the part of the brain that helps the left and right side communicate. It impacts the parietal, the occipital lobes. These are places where we're processing visual information and auditory information. So if you have kids with sensory issues, working on gratitude can help the lobes of their brain where they process sensory information. It impacts the prefrontal cortex, the various parts of the limbic system, which is what tells us how to process emotions. So because it gets me out of the stress response, I don't have inflammation, which directly impacts heart health. The reward, the dopamine, the serotonin, all of these feel-good chemicals in our brains, kids get them from video games, but gratitude does the same thing. That is what a lot of depression medication does, is it impacts those neurotransmitters. If we have gratitude, those neurotransmitters are released anyway. And this is not to say that if someone is depressed, that means they're not grateful. There are a lot of different causes behind that, but some kids who tend toward depression can get out of it merely by learning to cultivate gratitude. But I mean, I won't read all of that. I've kind of explained why it impacts the heart. It impacts all levels of physical health.
You want me to read it? I can read it because my screen's bigger.
Oh, I didn't really. You can if you want to. I just wanted to show that it so directly impacts our physical health, not just our well-being. Better academic experience. Grades go up. Self-esteem goes up. Motivation. Intrinsic motivation, because if I don't feel that the world is against me and I see the goodness in the world, even when I face struggles, I'm more motivated to engage. Teachers have more satisfaction, more accomplishment. Productivity at work goes up. This is so tied to pro-social behavior, altruism, philanthropy, compassion, but social connection, because gratitude is so largely a social connection. And by the way, gratitude is a skill.
Yeah, it is.
Just like kids can grow in math and reading, they can grow in gratitude. It is a skill to be modeled and learned.
Beautiful.
So in all of this research, there are 6 habits of highly grateful people that you see over and over and over. One is viewing the goodness in the world as a gift, not an entitlement. Now, I want to share with you that in the teenage years, entitlement is part of a developmental process. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But and of course, materialism can come in here if we have kids who want to keep up with the Joneses, that kind of thing. But I don't just think, well, this happened because I deserved it. We do want them to have positive self-esteem, but we want to appreciate someone went out of their way as a benefactor to help me. Whether it was their time, their love, their support, a gift, whatever type of goodness they bestowed upon me, opening the door for me. They savor positive experiences. There's a lot of mindfulness that comes in here. I mean, appreciating the aroma of the honeysuckle when you go on a walk, being just noticing the beauty. That there is a lot of research about being awestruck and how that changes the chemistry of the brain. The beautiful sunrise, the sound of the ocean waves, a lot of those sensory experiences. You can imagine how this is impacted with kids who have sensory issues. I couldn't even see when I was little. My equilibrium was off. So a lot of kids are going to miss out on the small moments because they're not experiencing them the same way we are. Yeah. They're not only grateful for things, but for people. That's huge. Sometimes kids are really grateful for a gift, a tangible gift, but not for quality time. Of course, we need to know the 5 love languages of kids. That has a lot to do with how kids process, how we demonstrate our love for them. And we want to speak their love language, but they must appreciate, they need to appreciate farmers that work hard to have food in the grocery stores that they eat. Not only just in the family, but all of those small little tokens of goodness in people that they benefit from.
Yep.
This might be counterintuitive for some people, but they contemplate loss. Now, for adults, that can mean death, but it can also be, what if I hadn't gotten this job? I'm feeling stressed out in this job. I thought I wanted it. Wow, this is not what I thought. What would life look like if you hadn't gotten that job? What would, when you start thinking about that, you realize that you actually are grateful to have it. So again, this is not, I have my head in the clouds, Pollyanna, and like a toxic positivity that's not based in realism, when you think about what life would be like without XYZ, what if my mom had not helped me on that project? What consequences would I be facing now? And all of a sudden, I may not be angry about it anymore. And that brings up gratitude. They think outside of the box. Mother Teresa talked about how grateful she was for the people she was blessed to serve. There is so much we can think outside the box in terms of the types of things to be thankful for. I am grateful for being able to serve families. That really resonated with me, Mother Teresa. But also the way we demonstrate that. Kids must understand, thank you, that's important. I mean, expressing gratitude verbally, but actions, writing letters of gratitude. Who has had a huge impact in your life? Have you ever told them?
Yeah.
And giving them letters. What can you do? Now, one thing I want to say is we want to cultivate an environment of pay it forward. I learned from my parents and my teachers and my mentors how to give to others, and I'm going to pay it forward to others. But if you are in a relationship and it's tit for tat, that creates resentment. What? I can't do something for you without you feeling like you have to reciprocate. That makes me question how close we really are. So it's not indebtedness. It is, I have learned the value of showing people how much I care and supporting them when I am in a position where I can. When we help kids understand their strengths, they are more motivated to use their strengths and their interests and their talents in a way that blesses others. And this is important. When they portray gratitude, they are specific in doing it. Not just, thank you for being my friend. What were the intentions? I know that when you did that, you realized that I was overwhelmed. And so you went out of your way. I know what your intention was. I have to have perspective to be able to put myself in your shoes. The cost to you, man, you have so much going on right now. You're short on time, and yet you still found time to reach out and call and check on me. And the benefits. I can't explain to you how loved that made me feel. Oh, the weight's been lifted off my shoulder. You convey to them the benefits of their thoughtfulness to you. That is what highly grateful people do.
Love it.
And as I've been saying, this is where a lot of kids start having difficulty. I must have theory of mind. And theory of mind means I put myself into the shoes of someone else. And what were their intentions? If I can't put myself into others' shoes, I may put a false intention on it. If I had done that, I would have done it because of XYZ. Maybe that's not why they did it. But I also have to understand the emotions they have for me. That must mean they really care about me. But one way to really grow perspective in our kids is, teach them to ask questions about the other person's perspective. To make sure they know what perspective means. A perspective is the way that we see a situation, the way others, and all of us can hear the same story, and we all have different takeaways. Mm-hmm. Zooming in or out on a situation can help us understand it better. Here's another big issue with a lot of our kids. How many of you have kids out there who can tell you the phone number of anybody? They can tell you the dates when anything happened in history class. They can spout off facts, figures, details. You said that was going to happen at 4:00. It happened at 4:07. And you're like, that wasn't the point. And you're frustrated because you're like, do you see the big picture? Do you get the moral of the story? We must look at the context, the big picture, the forest, as well as notice the trees. And a lot of kids see the big picture. They can't remember the details, or they don't know where to put the details or vice versa. And I know the details, but I don't have the big picture. So it's really important when you're reading stories, when you're having family conversations, to talk about the big picture, the main idea, the context, the gist, as well as the details that support that, and see how they all go together. Otherwise, it's just a jigsaw puzzle and nothing makes any sense. And if I can't do that, I can't organize my life, my thoughts, my feelings. Okay. But understanding that everyone has different point of view. What other vantage point can you look at this to see it differently? Cognitive flexibility is really hard. Another way to talk about this with kids is, and kids respond really well to superheroes a lot of times. Superflex is a superhero. When he is kind of in a disagreement with someone, or he's facing a problem and can only think of one solution and it didn't work, he will stand on his head. He will fly around and look at it from a different vantage point. He will make sure he sees someone else's point of view. we want to be like Superflex. Rock brain is like, this is what I believe in. That's how it is. when you pick characters, it doesn't have to be these, but I think these are so cute. And helping, that makes concrete the concept of cognitive flexibility, because that is very abstract and difficult for kids until their brain really starts growing in abstraction.
Rock brain.
And theory of mind and gratitude. So if I struggle with theory of mind, this is dad talking to his son while dad's at work. What are you doing, Denzel? Playing with this. The child.
Is that a young Denzel Washington? Just to be clear.
You know what? We can go with that.
I've not heard many people named Denzel. Have you?
I have not, and I didn't reach out to DW to ask him if this was him.
Hey, do you have the rights to use that name? Yeah.
But what's lacking here is theory of mind. I can't realize that my dad has a different frame of reference. When I say this, he doesn't know what this is. So then there's a breakdown of communication. So way to grow really this perspective, theory of mind, cognitive flexibility. Just as an example, Little Red Riding Hood, you can say, how did all of these characters feel about grandma? Well, Little Red Riding Hood was concerned about her because she was sick and then was so relieved that she didn't get eaten. The wolf was frustrated. He didn't get to eat her. He was angry. The woodchopper was proud that he could save her. That is theory of mind. When you're reading books, ask, how did so-and-so feel about this? How did the other character? Mix it up and match it. How would you feel if you were in that scenario? That grows cognitive flexibility, theory of mind, perspective, and that is a precursor to gratitude.
Precursor to gratitude. I love it.
And so now with kids, there are so many things you can do, and then I'll jump into teens, but gratitude jars. When you notice things, decorating a jar and putting things they're grateful for about people in the family or about their day. I'm going to tell you something interesting from research about gratitude journals. Y'all know how big I am on journaling. Research shows that people who do it one time a week have bigger benefits than people who do it every day or even 3 times a week. Now, if you are inclined and you want to do it because that is intrinsically motivated, you're going to benefit from that. But when people are lacking gratitude and using a gratitude journal to cultivate it, it feels forced. They don't feel connected to it, and it can backfire. But you could have kids create calendars, and each day of the month, things we're going to do to cultivate positivity or connectiveness or gratitude. A scavenger hunt where they take pictures of things they're grateful for. I mean, how fun is, I always bring up scavenger hunts. A lot of kids will open up to you more when they're moving, body-brain connection, and it impacts our neurochemicals that get us in a better mood and focused on what we're talking about, and that sensory experience, mindfulness. But those ideas are endless. Read gratitude books. If y'all want ideas, reach out to me. If you want coloring pages, songs about gratitude, reach out to me. But I think a lot of those types of things are intuitive and they work. But with teens, understand that one of their largest developmental tasks in these years is to grow individuality, independence, autonomy. So if we are telling them, you need to be more grateful, you just take for granted everything we do for you. Number one, we don't want them to label themselves like that little boy did. I'm just stupid. He's labeling himself as, I can't do this. I'm stupid. He labeled himself because he didn't do well on a test. We need to separate what people do from who they are. You have such a sweet heart. If they're not grateful and you're doing all of these things for them that I know you're doing, something's amiss. So when they heed your advice about being grateful, that can actually increase resentment, because here I am trying to establish autonomy, and I'm dependent on you and your wisdom. Shame on y'all for being so wise.
Yeah.
And then I feel that I'm sliding down the ladder on my independence.
Yeah.
This is a typical part of development. Understand that. Now, if you have kids with neurodevelopmental issues, that's going to be compounded. But even in typically developing teens, this can be a challenge. Struggles with entitlement, self-reflection, kids who aren't in touch with who they are, might have difficulty here. A narrow worldview. a friend who might not be as well off as a certain child is may not appreciate what a sacrifice that was, that child gave me a candy bar. That might have been his entire allowance. So I didn't really appreciate that. Attribution bias is strong. Attribution bias means when I do something for you, I realize how wonderful I am. Man, that was so thoughtful of me. But when you do it, I might think, ulterior motive, that was no skin off his back. There is a tendency in teens to do this. And the just world hypothesis says that people who deserve it get what they want. The ones who don't. Like manna from heaven. If you are the one, you deserve it. So if they don't get what they want, they feel they internalize that, and it's my fault because I don't deserve, or I do get the things I want and I was entitled to it. So It's not true. Good things happen to questionable people sometimes, and bad things happen to good people. And kids need to know that. So how do we work around this? We are going for authentic, emotional, connected gratitude, not forced compliance with you do this when somebody does something. That will be resentment. That will be arguments. That will cause a divide in the relationship. Gratitude thrives with connectedness. So let them first of all, get them in touch with who they are if they're struggling with that. We've talked about how body awareness, if I don't feel my body the way I am, I'm not in touch with the core of my being and my goals and my dreams. What do I appreciate? What is important to me? The more kids know themselves and can explore all the aspects of themselves and have a growth mindset and not be a bunch of labels, the more they will organically express gratitude. Let them take the lead. Hey, you are so creative. Creativity is huge here. Create a family gratitude practice for us that we're going to do this month. It's their idea. There's going to be buy-in, intrinsic motivation, and they're not doing it because you told them. You're following their lead, and the whole family's going to do a gratitude thing. That's really good buy-in. I have a book on that slide that I highly recommend about staying connected to your teens. It's back one, I think.
Sorry about that. There we go.
Staying Connected to Your Teenager by Riera. But the other way to address this with teens is you can indirectly get them grateful by fostering altruism. Use their strengths. What are they interested in the community that they can take a part of? Food drives, whatever it is. But it's a good idea to let them pick that, because altruism begets gratitude. When I serve people who are less fortunate than I am, I naturally become more grateful for what I have. Allow teasing and humor. So if kids are complaining about something, you can say, wow, that stinks. That doesn't sound like a fun part of the day. Well, what was something that you enjoyed about today? You don't have to say, what are you grateful for today? Understand that gratitude is not just, I am grateful for. It can be your favorite part of the day. That is still gratitude. It is still a positive thought about something that happened. Kids must understand, and cognitive inflexibility makes this hard. I could have, on a scale of 0 to 10, this day truly, it was like a 3 or a 4. What made it a 3 or 4 instead of a 1? There's still something good, but we still empathize with the part that was a struggle. But let them, if there's a little bit of sarcasm, teasing, they're in a fight with somebody at school. Well, I'm glad I don't have math class with her. Well, that's gratitude. They're venting, but they're also still finding a silver lining. That's in the privacy of home, of course. But we've talked about growth mindset. Yeah.
Nice. What about when it backfired?
So check out this character in the midst of a burning building. This is fine. Just sits there. I'm going to plaster a smile on my face. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. Let me drink my tea. Gratitude can backfire. It does not mean we stick our head in the ground. We must be proactive. We can overdose on it. But another huge danger, and I really want parents think about this, not only if you're in a situation, but with maybe who your kids are dating. If there's an abusive situation, for example, someone is not good for you, but I'm just, but he says nice things to me sometimes. And he hit me the following day. I don't want to focus on the good in that situation because it might have me in a dangerous situation. This is a real conversation to have with your kids. Avoidance of a serious issue. I mean, just like the fire, that perfectly depicts that. We got to be proactive. It doesn't mean that everything's going to work out fine. And I can be grateful that my life was spared, even if I lost my house. That is appropriate. But it doesn't mean that I have to believe that I'm totally okay that happened. Then I'm not allowed to be true. I'm not allowed to feel, to be genuine. Downplaying personal success, because gratitude is all about really noticing where the goodness comes from and who contributed to the success, all the goodness that people have bestowed upon me. That does not mean that we want kids to not take credit for the good that they do. You earn this. I am so proud of your perseverance. We don't want to strip that from them. And mistaking it for indebtedness. It is not tit for tat. It is, I learn about gratitude. I know who I am, what I'm grateful for. I recognize the intention, the cost, the benefits of what someone did for me, and I'm going to pay it forward. But I don't have resentment over, oh, this person did something nice for me, so now I'm doing something just to get even. That's not where we're going with that.
Nice. Okay. Whoa, we've reached the end. Holy cow. All right, everybody. So listen up. There is a new center in town. It is coming to the Woodlands. It's not here yet, but it's on the way. The Woodlands are in Texas. So if you are in the Texas area, we've got a lot of locations all over the state. Okay. So head over to Katy, Mansfield, or Southlake at brainbalance.com. The phone numbers are right there. In fact, I'll even make them bigger for you on the screen right now. There they are. So you can get in there and you can help cultivate enduring gratitude yourself, or you can have a little hand from some of the best people in the state of Texas, in my opinion, in the country, that will help you with your child and your struggling family. Heather's there. I'm not there. I'm in Orlando. Heather's in Texas, but her staff is incredible. Just a bunch of heroes all gathered together to help you and your family. So whether you're at home, whether you're able to come in every now and then, or whether you want a hybrid of the two, Brain Balance is there to help you. So please reach out through the Facebook page, Messenger, or just leave a comment, because we watch these and we will respond in the comments. So what else? What else am I missing, Heather?
Nothing. Follow the Hidden Churn also, because I give tidbits every day on there as well.
Beautiful.
But the Woodlands is opening really soon. Yeah.
It's exciting stuff. Visit the Facebook page when you can. We'll get you that address in the comments sometime soon. All right, everybody. Take care. Good to see you. Bye.